Episode 36, people. Welcome everybody out there to episode 36 of Elephant in the Room, brought to you by yours truly, Funderburg. As we always do at this time, like I said, we gonna slide through a few topics that's been highly talked about in the previous week. But before we do any of that, again, like I said, I want to give a shout out to each and every last person out there that supports anything that I do in any and every way, whether it be constructive criticism, compliments, advice, whatever it may be, or nothing at all, just watching my platform, period, and paying attention to whatever I got going on. Again, people, it does not go. It is not being taken for granted, and it does not go unnoticed. Um, Also, just like I always do, I wouldn't be me if I didn't also let you know my latest project, Gold Tape, which is my latest album. It is currently out right now, available everywhere music is heard, everywhere music could be sold. And once you get finished listening to that, it's two other albums that are just as good. Scale Tape and my debut album, which is This One's For You, Dad. Again, like I tell you people, for everybody who's familiar with my platform, y'all already know what I'm about to say. I stand on every piece of art that I put out, from clothing to music to podcasting. I stand on everything. You know what I mean? So go check that out if you guys appreciate good music. And just give it a listen. And after you're done, listen to it again and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Uh, with that being said, we gonna slide into a few topics. This episode not gonna be too long today. It's not too much that happened. Again, a lot of things are happening in the political world, in the political space, and like I told you guys, I try my best to stay away from it, just because I'm not really like educated enough to the point where I feel like I could have a valid dialogue with anyone about politics. You know what I mean? And just like religion, those things are so strong that you have to, no matter how you feel, it's going to be a lot of people out there that disagree with you in every way. And at least if somebody out there is disagreeing with me, I can at least give some type of valid context as to why I believe what I believe, why I may believe they're wrong and I'm right, this and that to the third. So, and I don't believe I have that because I just don't pay attention to it that much. You know what I mean? Again, a lot of things go on in life that, that can stress you out and put you in, a mindset of not being yourself. And I choose to make the decision to not pay that any mind at all. So, like I said, that's the reason why I don't like to touch on politics, not only on this platform, but even if you have a private conversation with me. Any and everybody out there who knows me will tell you, like, I stay away from politics just because I'm not educated enough to speak on it. Because anybody who has a debate and or argument about things they have little to no knowledge of, that is a form of ignorance. You know what I mean? And I like to stay away from that just because, just me using common sense, I don't understand how you can do that. I don't understand how you can have a debate or an argument with somebody about something you don't know about. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why I stay out of politics. And, but, with that being said, I mean, the current person in office right now, I'm not fond of at all, but, I'll leave that there. So a bunch of things been going on in the political world, but those are things I'm going to choose not to talk about. But one very important thing that has come up and that I wanted to touch on this platform, the most important thing that happened this past week was my oldest baby, Canary Alani Funderburk, has currently made the high school basketball team as a eighth grader. Man, listen. Congratulations to her. Words can't even express how I feel. Like, she has exceeded expectations so much in my book. I'm scared for her. Because it's like, like I said, last year was her first year playing basketball. And she was just, and I'm not just saying this because it's my daughter. I'm being honest. She was just naturally nice. She just was she was a natural. She just, without any work being put in, none of that. She was just naturally good. Hustled, easy to coach, size, all that. And then one thing about my oldest baby is she's such my daughter, it don't make no sense. She hates to lose. She hates it. So because of that, like, she's her own worst critic. Like, whenever she missed any shot, she would be so down on herself to the point, no, I should have made that. I don't care if this person was in front of me. I should have made it. She chose to participate in workouts. And this is something I wanted to touch on my platform because I just think it's important. Just, as a father, man, who's co-parenting, you know what I mean? And the things you have to sacrifice for your baby. But before we get to any of that, this is about her. She chose to participate in workouts. So she work out on her own. Her mother's husband takes her to a gym. I believe I know it's every Sunday, but it might be more days than that. At least during the summer when she wasn't in school. Now she in school with school, homework, and practice. She don't even have no time to go work out. But after basketball season, like, I have split custody of her. So she is to come over my house every other day. But like I said, my baby getting old. She 13 now. So y'all know how this thing go. Like, when you 13, I don't care how much you love your parents. Sometimes you ain't gonna want to go over dad's house. And you may not even have a reason. It's just like, nah, I don't feel like it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even have to have a reason. And that's okay with me because I know how that is. You know what I mean? I mean, my mother and father was together until the day my father passed away. But I understand what it's like from the perspective of, I love you, but I don't want to come over your house. It may be for a slew of reasons. You know what I mean? Or it may be not for any reason at all. So, and I give her that rope. Like, yo, if you want to come over, come over. You know what I mean? If you don't, cool. You know what I'm saying? So, with her schedule, like I said, with her now she's in middle school. She get out of school at 4. She's in every activity there is, like sports. Volleyball season just ended. She won the MVP in that. Basketball season is upon us now. And then when basketball season is over, it's like a 2-month break. And then track starts. You know what I mean? And she's in all of those. So, I know her day can be busy between school, practice, homework, and just time for yourself. So I always gave her that rope. You know what I mean? But I want to give credit to her mother's husband for making that commitment to her. And this is an individual who I am not fond of. And this is the reason I wanted to bring, because that this is something I wanted to bring to this platform. I wanted to give some personal perspective too as to what's going on in my life. You know what I mean? Because what I look like having an opinion on everybody else's personal life and not giving you anything of my own. So, I wanted to, like I said, give credit to him because, again, it's a team effort. It takes a village to raise a kid. So like I was telling you, with me having split custody of her, she's supposed to come over to my house every other day. And, but me understanding how her schedule works, it's like, yeah, I understand you might be tired. You might not want to come over this day, that day, this day. You might not want to do the back and forth thing. I get it. Now at first it was something to get through because her mom would always want her to come home early on my weekend to have her, like if I pick her up on Friday and I keep her until Sunday at 7:30 p.m., she would want her to come home at noon. She would want her to come home at 1, 2, 3, anytime before 7:30. And she used to always ask me, and I used to say yes a lot. But it was like sometimes I would say no, and it would just be like, well, it wasn't always a direct no unless I had something planned to do with her. But it was like, well, why you always want her to come home early? Oh, well, because she has to clean up. She has to do this. She has to do that. And it's like, no, I'm not losing my time with my baby for that. So, and I remember I told her mom, like, well, if she wants to stay home, I'll let her. But if you want her to come home early or to stay home because you want her to help you with something else at your house, it's like, no, I'm not losing my time for that. So we had that ordeal for like a year or two, maybe even a little longer, maybe even like 2.5 years. So when I told my child's mother, like, yo, if she want to stay home, I will allow that. She played to that and was like, well, tell your dad you want to come home early. And she'd do little dirty shit like, yo, if you could come home early from your dad's house, I'll take you to Target and buy you a toy. And so, she would ask, Canary would tell me, Dad, can I go home early? Because my mom gonna take me to Target and buy a toy. And I would let her. And she wouldn't take her to Target and buy her a toy. That's the type of shit where it's like, okay, she's going to have to see that manipulation. And this is not to badmouth anybody. I have a point in telling this. That was early on in it wasn't even early on in our co-parenting. It was after a few years of our co-parenting. But eventually we got to a space where, my daughter started asking me to stay home or go home early because she wanted to go work out for her game. And when I watched her play last season, I seen that she was into it. I seen that she cared. So it was like anything you need to do to get better, I'm going to support it. So that would lead her into going home early because she would go work out at 5 a.m. every Sunday. She still do it today. Today is Friday. In 2 days, she's going to be getting up 5 a.m. going to work out. And when she first approached me with the idea, it was like, well, how do I know that this ain't gonna be the same thing as the Target situation? Like, yeah, okay, I know how much your dad like basketball. I know how much he wants you to play basketball. So we gonna play to that and be like, yo, I want to come home early so I could go work out and get better at my game. How do I know that they telling me the truth in that? But I can't assume that they're lying. So it's like, I remember I told my baby, like, because Okay, if you're going to work out at 5 in the morning, I'm not waking up going to drop you off at your mom's house at 4 or something so you can make it to the workout at 5. That means I would have to drop her off Saturday night. So I pick her up on Friday after school and homework. She ain't getting to my house until 6, 7 o'clock at night. Sometimes even later, because again, we dealing with a teenager, yeah. She, you know, going to school dances. She might be going to the mall with her friends. She may have a Halloween party, a Friendsgiving, whatever. So she's coming to my house even later. So it's like, okay, so I have you Friday night and Saturday until 7:30. So I told Canary this. I said, listen, if I don't see you getting better, I'm not going to agree to this. And I told her, I will let you go work out, but you have to take it serious. And I have to see that you are getting better. So every once in a while, I will grab the basketball. Come on, we're going to play one-on-one. And I would take note. Okay. I would press up on her. See if she's getting stronger. I would let her shoot sometimes. I would contest her shot. I would contest her layups. Just seeing if she's getting better. And y'all, let me tell you something. It was in September. I called myself pressing up on her, guarding her tight. And she drove to the basket and stepped back and shot her jump. And when I'm doing this, that is how her jumper looks. And she stepped back. Y'all, let me tell you something. At that time, she was 12. She really got me up off her. You know how sometimes you playing with your kid, you know, you letting them get away with a move. You might exaggerate it sometimes and make it look like, nah, she really got me. She drove to the bucket. I'm sliding my feet and she stepped back. I'm still sliding to the basket. And she stepped back and shot it and made it. I ain't tell her. I said, yeah. I see she working out. I see it. I see the results. So big shouts out to her for that. But the main reason why I wanted to bring this up, and I touched on it earlier, I want to give credit to her mother's husband, who I am not fond of. But that man is taking time out his day to see to it that my daughter get better in ball. This is something that he is credited for. He got her doing cone drills, shifting, moving your feet drills, layup lines, suicides, everything. And because of that, my baby made the high school basketball team as an 8th grader. Amherst district. Amherst High School. She's in 8th grade. She's in middle school. And I contribute that to him. But it's really all of us, though. Because if I let my pride get in the way, man, I don't fuck with him. And I don't fuck with him for reasons, not reasons, a reason where he had, like, put his hands on my daughter. Not hit, he didn't hit her. but he grabbed her real stern, and he like, like he grabbed her real stern, and when he let her go, she fell. And she had told me, my baby had told me about it. And it got addressed. It got addressed in a very as best as it can be addressed. I'm gonna just leave it there. It got addressed. And to his credit, to their credit, it happened once and it never happened again. And even that happened 10 years ago. But just as a man, I didn't have that conversation with him yet about not putting his hands on my child. I didn't have that conversation. So that's the reason why I'm not fond of him. You know what I mean? But again, if I allowed that to get in the way of my baby getting better with hooping, she would have never got the chance to be able to see if she could make the JV team, the varsity team, because it would have just been like, no, you're not taking my time away from me. This is my time with my baby. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, sometimes with co-parenting and with anything in life, you don't never want to lose your pride, but sometimes you got to sit it down and let it rest. Because again, if I allow my personal feelings to get in the way of what my baby wanted, that could have affected her. So credit to me for, never mind how I feel about you and whatever me and your thing is. My baby expressed to me this is what she wanted. And I seen her in those games caring about her missing a shot. I'm talking about hard shots. Shots that nobody expect any girl on that court to make. She's mad that she missed it and she wants to get better. Yeah, she read Kobe Bryant's book and everything. She's tapped in with hooping. So me seeing that, I'm going to allow you to go work out. I'm going to allow that. You know what I mean? And just him taking the time out to see to it that my baby get better. I mean, that goes past any personal feelings I could ever have about somebody I don't know. It is much appreciated. And again, that don't get taken for granted because that's something that man didn't have to do. You know what I mean? So he's to credit for that. You know what I mean? But it takes a village. It took me putting down my pride and allowing it to happen. And it took him not only helping form dedication within my daughter, but having dedication with him in himself. Getting up at 5 a.m, taking her. Putting her in the best position to succeed in whatever she want to do. And for that, I appreciate that. Like I do. Even though I'm not fond of the person at all. But that's something you doing for my baby that you don't have to do. That he don't have to do. And for that, I appreciate it. And, hopefully this would help somebody out there who may be going through something similar to me. You want to feel like, nah, I should be the one going to work out with her. Yeah, I wish I could. And I would. But they already got a program going and it's working. Who in the hell am I to step in the way of that? I will never be that selfish. So again, you know what I mean? Shouts out to and I would say his name, but again, I don't have the permission to do that, but I want to express gratitude towards that individual because that's something he don't have to do. And I want to give a big shout out to my baby girl who has done some shit she had to take a test to be able to see if she's able to even play high school sports. She took that test, passed it, and tried out for the high school team and made it. And by the way, she's on the honor roll. So, yeah, I'm taking the first half of this show to dedicate to my baby, because you are doing things that's exceeding my expectations. And I have high expectations for you. You can do anything in the world. And yes, you know I tell you that all the time. But you really doing it. And that do something different. So like I tell you all the time, I'm proud to be your father, and you are making me so proud. So proud. I can't even express to you how proud I am of you. So keep working hard and remain humble. Remain humble. And you can do anything in this world you want to do. You know what I mean? So big shouts out to my baby girl, Miss Canary Alani Funderburk. I love you more than life itself. And keep knocking down those barriers and making your parents proud. And big shouts out to everyone that contributed to my daughter's success in pursuing her dreams of being a basketball player. You know what I mean? So, wanted to open the show up with that. You know what I mean? So now that we got that out the way, we can get into some messy shit. Speaking of kids, my guy, my second favorite rapper of all time, Pusha T, was in hot water because people are sick. He's expecting child number 2. And so he decided to express it with the world by posting his lovely wife on his page, her being pregnant, and him writing like a letter to his son that he has now, because I guess his son wanted a younger sibling, and all of that. So he penned a letter to his son saying, you got what you wish for, you know what I mean? Be ready to share all your toys and this and that to the third. And he gave his wife gratitude as well. King Push is his page that he has that on. Yeah, I get a chance, go check that out. Go check that post out. It's very elegant and like just stand up. Like Pusha T is just a stand up dude all around to me. So in doing that, he had said, he was like, and to your mom, he was just expressing like, yo, you make my life so much easier. Like he was saying it, like he was saying it tongue in cheek. He was like, yo, make sure your mom never teaches me how to change a diaper, how to suck snot out your nose with her mouth. He was just expressing everything she does for her to be the super mom that she is. And people felt the way about it because he said he didn't know how to change a diaper. So people criticized him for it, or what type of father are you that you don't change diapers? Who doesn't know how to change diapers? And then while doing that, people had too much time on their hands. They also had did the age difference, the age gap that they are. And they did the math on the age gap that they are and then how long they've been dealing with each other. And I think Pusha T is like 11 years older than his wife. And they've been dealing with each other since she was like 19 and he was like, maybe 30. It's the same age. I think it's the same age gap as Jay-Z and Beyonce. And people were like, oh my God, he's a pedophile, this and that to the third. And it's like, let it go, man. Y'all done dragged that word into the dirt. That shit don't even mean what it's supposed to mean anymore. And you know, I touched on this a long time ago, but like I told y'all, it was different back in the day. It was okay for an older man to date a younger chick. And in a lot of cases, it was even okay for an older man to date a minor. Now, when I say minor, I ain't talking about no 10, 11-year-old. But I'm talking 15, 16, and that person is 21, 22. It was okay. People used to arrange like relationships on with those type of age gaps. Like it was a whole different walk of life. It was a whole different, and I'm not even talking about my era. I'm not talking about my era. I'm talking about the era before me. Like the older dudes was chasing, they was stealing our chicks, the chicks our age. So it was completely normal. But again, like, how did him penning a letter to his son while giving his wife all the credit in the world turn into him being a pedophile? That just goes to show you how the world is, man, how the world works and how cruel it can be. And this is why I tell anybody out there, anyone, man, don't give a shit about what nobody think about you, man. You got to look at yourself in the mirror. So as long as you know you're a good person, as long as you're staying solid and true to your beliefs and your true self, fuck what anybody else think. Because a person will find a negative in anything you do. So don't live life for other people's approval. Live right. Live life to be and do right by people who love you and care about you the most. Keep the main thing the main thing. That shit was disgusting when I seen he was in hot water because while giving his wife credit, they criticized him for not knowing how to change a diaper. And he probably said that tongue in cheek. I don't know. I don't want to speak as if I know what he was speaking to. But it's like, okay, even if worst case scenario, he was being technical and don't know how to change a diaper. Apparently, a lot of celebrities don't. They have nannies and people who take care of their babies. And this is from their account. A lot of celebrities say it. Like, yo, a lot of people have nannies. They don't change diapers. I'm not in that life. I'm in the trenches. I'm changing diapers. I'm changing diapers, getting peed on while getting a new diaper. I'm doing all that. But just because you've worked hard to obtain a life to where you can have other people handle that for you, that don't mean I'm any better of a parent than you are. You know what I mean? But it's just disgusting as to where, life goes. Like how life is now, how people can make something so positive, so negative. So just live life and be you. You know what I mean? Staying on the kid aspect, academics was, I'm not going to say in the news, but he was getting some attention because Rory from the Rory and Mal show podcast, another podcast that's really dope and that I'm a fan of. He was in hot water because of some race bait type thing where he was talking about somebody black. I don't even, again, I've been listening to Rory for 15 years. I don't know him personally at all, but I can almost bet my last dollar that man ain't racist. So the second I seen his name with something that can be deemed as racism, I let it fall on deaf ears. So please forgive me for not knowing the full context of him while he was in hot water. But it was definitely some rage bait type shit, some race bait type shit. So So with that, Akademiks decided to jump in. Him and Akademiks don't get along. They never did. So Akademiks is another podcaster, streamer, who content creator, whatever you want to call him. He decided to chime in on it, and I guess he took a picture of Rory with his daughter and was like, yeah, I've been following you for 4 years. And, Akademiks accused Rory of pulling up to his house a while back. They have a long history with each other that I don't care to go into. But the reason why I wanted to bring it up is because this is what I mean by you got to stay in your lane. Because Akademiks is soft as shit, but you portraying to be something and somebody you're not. You gotta stop. Because one day you gonna get what you looking for. I don't know when that day gonna come, but it will come. And you just not gonna be prepared for it. And you think because you're at a financial level to where you can portray something, you think that shit's safe. And it's not. Stop playing with people and their kids. I don't care what that individual going through. Because you can't tell a person how to defend themselves. So stop trying to be a gangster. Stop trying to portray something you're not. There is nothing wrong with being a civilian. There is nothing wrong with not being tough. There is nothing wrong with that. The only time it is something wrong with it is when you try to act like you're not. When you try to act like you are something you're not. Stop playing with people and their kids. With that being said, that'll do it for this week's episode of Elephant in the Room. Like I said, it's not too much to talk about this week. Again, you had Nicki Minaj speaking at the I think it was the State of the Union, whatever. But again, I don't talk politics, and I don't care to talk about that individual either, in Nicki Minaj. So, it's just a bunch of things happen. It's just a bunch of things I would rather, again, I don't want to get into, you know what I mean? So, with that being said, that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of Elephant in the Room. Again, do remember, go check out my latest project, Gold Tape. And once you're done with that, go check out the project before that, which is Scale Tape. And when you're done with that, go listen to my debut album, This One's For You, Dad, which is available now everywhere music is heard, everywhere music can be sold. We also are doing, we are releasing some new crew neck sweatshirts for Scale. So please be alert for that. Get your checkbook ready for it. And please be ready to, you know what I mean? Please be ready to spend, people. It's that time. It's holiday time. Get your Christmas shopping out the way. All that. Just be prepared for it. So don't say I didn't tell you, y'all. You know what I mean? It is coming any day now. We will be having visuals of the actual sweatshirts coming up in the next few weeks. So please be mindful of that. And with that being said, that'll do it for this week's episode, people. Thank you to everybody out there who has supported me, whether it be your first time, your 36th or 37th time support me, or your 100th time support me. I love y'all. You know what I mean? Y'all the reason why I keep doing this type shit. You know what I mean? Because if it wasn't for y'all, I would never know that anybody would be interested in what I have to say and or think. You know what I mean? So with that being said, people, remember to stay safe, continue to do what makes sense for you, and always keep the main thing, people. Until next time, Signing off, Funderburg. Be safe out there, y'all. See you next week.